Hi, so today I'm actually going to read about the Louisiana Purchase, which I kind of hinted to that Jefferson bought something that helped America or changed America. And remember, Jefferson was elected president, so he did this because he was president. So the Louisiana Purchase. For many years, the land west of the Mississippi River had been claimed by Spain. In 1800, however, France took over this territory. President Jefferson worried that France might try to stop Americans from using the port of New Orleans. If you ever go to New Orleans, there's a French flair to it, and that would be because they used to own that part. New Orleans in French would be, or Orléans. Is a city in France, which makes sense why we have New Orleans here, just like we have Amsterdam and then we have New Amsterdam, York and New York type of thing. The settlers west of the Appalachian Mountains relied on the Mississippi River to ship goods south to the port. From there, the goods were sent to cities on the East Coast. Remember, we talked about water is so important because of trade. Jefferson sent James Monroe to France to try to buy the port of New Orleans and some land nearby. At first, Napoleon Bonaparte, the leader of France, did not want to sell New Orleans. I'm going to sound distracted for a second, but I wanted to look up something about Napoleon before I tell you something that's not true. Napoleon was really short. He was about my height. If you ever see him in movies or anything, he's always very short. That's what I was looking up. But okay. At first, Napoleon Bonaparte, the leader of France, did not want to sell New Orleans. But France was fighting a war against Britain and needed money. So Napoleon surprised the Americans. He offered to sell the entire Louisiana territory. The Louisiana territory stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. You might want to go online and look at a map and just see how big that is. So the Mississippi River all the way to the Rocky Mountains. It would double the size of the United States. It would provide rich natural resources and help the nation develop its economy. Monroe quickly agreed to buy it for about $15 million. When Jefferson learned how much the land was involved, he grew concerned. Did a U.S. president have the power to buy new lands? Jefferson believed in a strict interpretation of the Constitution. Remember, we talked about the Constitution. That's why we have so many, we have people to debate it, like the free speech. What does that exactly mean? The right to bear arms. Can I carry a gun into Walmart? Like those type of things. What does the Constitution truly say? Did the U.S. president have the power to buy new lands? Jefferson believed in a strict interpretation of the Constitution. The Constitution did not mention buying new territory. However, he found a way to explain the purchase. The Constitution gives the president the power to negotiate treaties or agreements with other countries, so he's calling it an agreement. In 1803, the United States completed the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France, exploring the West. Jefferson was curious about the new territory beyond the Mississippi River. He decided to send an expedition into the Louisiana Territory. Jefferson chose Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to lead the expedition. He gave the expedition 3 goals. First, they were to explore the Missouri and the Columbia Rivers to see if they could find a water route to the Pacific Ocean. Remember, they didn't know yet if they could get all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Second, they were to meet and learn about Native Americans who lived in the region. Third, they were to study and take notes on the landforms, plants, and animals they found. Because if you go west, it's way different than east. In May 1804, Lewis and Clark, you probably have heard of them, and more than 30 others left St. Louis, Missouri. Later, a French trapper named Carbonneau, I think that's how you say that. I'll Google that in a second, and his Shoshone wife, Sacagawea, which you've probably heard of, joined them as guides and interpreters. An interpreter translates what people are saying into other languages. Sacagawea explained Native Americans that they met that their mission was peaceful. I'm going to listen to how you say his name because I should know that if I can speak French. Charbonneau, and his Shoshone wife, Sacagawea. So she interpreted and said, hey, we're coming with peace. I have 2 more pages and then we're done. Hardships and successes. The expedition traveled more than 80,000 miles during the 2.5-year journey. So that was a long trip. The explorers faced all kinds of weather, from blizzards to scorching heat. In addition to exploring the mountains and the plains of the West, the expedition encountered dangerous animals such as grizzly bears and mountain lions. They saw huge herds of bisons and pronghorns. I'm going to Google what a picture of a pronghorn is. Pronghorn is like a type of antelope, it looks like. I've never seen that. Pronghorn. And groups of prairie dogs. Finally, in November 1805, the explorers caught their first glimpse of the Pacific Ocean. When they arrived, Clark wrote in his journal, "Ocean in view, oh the joy." After spending the winter on the West Coast, Lewis and Clark and the others returned to St. Louis in September 1806. They had succeeded in exploring the nation's new territory. So that rivers that they found the Missouri River, the Yellowstone River, the Columbia River. They left St. Louis. They went north toward like South Dakota, North Dakota. Then they went to, kind of funny, they found Sacagawea's brother, who was way up north, near Idaho. And then they went to the expedition of the Pacific Ocean. Lewis and Clark made maps and kept detailed journals of their land, people, and animals they saw. They even brought back new varieties of plants and animals for Jefferson to examine. Lewis and Clark did not find a water route across the continent, but they reached the Pacific Ocean. Remember, people thought that there was the Northwest Passage that would take them all the way across America, but we know that does not exist. Their journey paved the way for future explorers and settlers of the United States. One such explorer of the new territory was Zebulon Pike. With a small group, he followed the Arkansas River to present-day Colorado. There he saw a great mountain that today is known as Pikes Peak. So things that they accomplished. Lewis and Clark learned about Native Americans. They reached the ocean, and they took really good journals and notes about wildlife and land. So next time we do social studies, I will try to include some videos to kind of show you what they saw and where they went exactly, and just know that that was a really big deal because they bought it for $15 million, but they bought a lot of land. And it's important to know they bought it from Napoleon. It says the purchase of the price was $15 million. That added some 13 states worth of territories at less than 3 cents per acre. It says, today the land in Louisiana Purchase, this is from Investopedia. Today the land in the Louisiana Purchase is worth significantly more. The deal encompassed 828,000 square miles, which equates to approximately 512 million acres. The land today costs an averaging of $1,000 to $4,000 per acre, and we just saw it was like about 3 cents. And the continental United States in 2019. The value of the Louisiana Purchase is therefore likely to near $1.2 trillion. So that's crazy. So they bought it for $15 million and it'd be worth $1.2 trillion. So fun facts. things to remember. Lewis and Clark, they went on the they went on the expedition to see what they actually had bought. Thomas Jefferson bought it from Napoleon. He said it was okay in the Constitution because he had the power to make agreements with other countries. And what they got out of it is they learned about Native Americans, they reached the Pacific Ocean, and they kept a journal about wildlife and landforms. Okay, that's it. Bye.